Hampton Park is so lucky to have so many large beech trees. These are really slow growing trees, so even though this one is not as large as some that are in here, it's well over 100 years old. And this is the time of year where if you are being pelted on the head with something from above in Hampton Park, it is very likely going to be a beech seed. So I'm looking around down below for some seeds because this is a species that's under threat. It has two diseases attached to it, beech leaf and beech bark disease. I'll put some resources in the description if you'd like to read up a little bit more about that. But there's also other generalized threats. We had gypsy moths in here a few years ago. There's also an insect called the spotted lanternfly, which is definitely moving north with the warmer temperatures, and that pretty much eats any other deciduous tree. So just like the gypsy moth, it will defoliate trees quite substantially. But what you'll notice is beeches seed themselves fairly easily. So when you're walking along these paths, please be careful, because some of the ones that are coming up are right at the path edge. So if you have a dog that likes to dig, because I believe this might have been the work of a dog over here, this is really not a good thing for your dog to be doing in a place like this. These are very sensitive soils. There's a lot of sand here, so we have a lot of soil slumping, which means that the soil comes down with every rainfall, which we haven't had in a while, but because it's been dry, also any wind will also bring that soil down. And it weakens and erodes the slope, so you can see some of the root exposure of the trees, and so that weakens the base of the trees. So we need to keep these trees nice and healthy and ensure the next stalk. So as I said, they seed very easily, and here's a little one coming up. And what I did was I just took a few of the limbs that were down around here and just sort of placed them in front as a bit of a marker, so that when people are walking along, it's like, oh, there's a new tree coming up here. And then you walk a little bit over here and you see some more young'uns coming up. So even right here, right on the edge of the path, and then just in, you'll see them. And then there's some ostrich ferns. I believe actually we may have even planted those ostrich ferns. I'm not quite sure. But there are some small seedlings. Now, not all of these are going to survive, and that's just the way things happen. But one thing that you can do at this time of year is take a look around for whole beech seeds. I'm trying to find one so I can give you a sense of what they look like, but they have sort of little bristles on them. The squirrels love them, so they're constantly opening them up, and I'm certainly seeing the outer shells of them. So what we need are the husks. So here's one. There we go. So again, this one's probably not a viable one because it's sort of open. But if you do find seeds like this, what you can do is you can take them home, let them just dry for about, a day or two, and then pop them in a dish of water. Ones that sink are ones that are viable. Usually that means that there's nothing wrong with them. Ones that float typically mean an insect has gotten in there, a crack, something that's making it float. So the ones that float, you can just sort of, toss into your yard, let the squirrels have at them if they want. And the ones that sink should be viable. So again, I will give you some resources in the description below if you want to give that a try, seeding some of your own trees. It's hit or miss. It is definitely a science, and I am not a dendrologist, so I'm learning alongside everybody else. But we'll just take a look while we're down here. Had a nice sit down at the new chairs, which is always a nice thing to see. Now, we are having a little bit of buckthorn coming through here. I believe this is buckthorn, which, is still manageable in here, I believe. So again, here's some more. And we could probably take those out and allow some of the other native species like the ostrich ferns and here's something that we planted. I believe this is one of our dogwoods. Oh no, this is a black cherry, pardon me. All right, so this is a black cherry tree. We do have quite a number of black cherries in here, but they're also coming down at a sort of an alarming rate. And most of them are around the, 50, 60, 70-year-old mark. So a lot of them are up top, closer to Buell. So there may be something going on that we just don't know as much about. Now this here is Jack in the Pulpit, and it's got a little seed head here, and the seeds are still green. But once they are red, you can help propagate these species by just taking them and tossing them in bare areas of soil. Even better if you just sort of poke them down a little bit into the soil. That way, squirrels are lazy like us. They'll go after the easy stuff first. But squirrels are also pretty crafty, also like us. So if they see you doing it, sometimes they'll go and they'll dig it up. But, that's the chance you take. Here's another area where there's a couple of really nice big Jack in the Pulpits, as well as a common witch hazel, which we planted last fall, I think. I can't remember. But again, there's a nice big one right there. So there we go. There's a nice big seed head. So it won't be too much longer. Another, few weeks, that's going to start to redden up, and the seeds can drop. It does seem to be a plant that is relatively easy to propagate right in the soil. I would not recommend bringing this seed home to try seeding it at home. So this is one that seeds itself fairly well just right in here. Now is that bloodroot? I think that might be bloodroot. So that's more of a spring plant. You'll see that coming up next spring. Seems like just a minute ago it was spring. Oh, here's some trash. Grab you. All right. So it's a pity we haven't had too much rain, because this place really is fantastic for mushrooms along here. So we'll see. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. So this is a fern that was cut. Now this could have been rabbits, but it was more than likely illegal foragers. Now, let's see, how many are here? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ferns that were not cut. As you can see, the whole thing is here. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you are a forager, be an ethical one. Do not cut all of the heads off, because as you can see, the ones that had at least a couple of ferns left on them, or enough, they are rebounding. But if you continue to do this, and people have harvested from this area year over year over year, and we're losing them. So when people think that, oh, there's a lot of them here, I can take as many as I want, there's really not as many as you think there are. And certainly not as many as there used to be from a historical perspective, and how many there should be. So yeah, bunnies do a little bit of work in here, but some of these cuts are a little bit too clean, and I was spotting these in March, well before the bunnies were out. So, or March and April, when they first started coming out, the fiddleheads. Fiddleheads do grow everywhere, so buy a couple of plants, chuck them in your yard. They will reproduce, and then you will have your own safe supply of fiddlehead ferns in the spring when you want them. And you won't have to worry about dogs potentially peeing on everything. Oh, stray mushrooms are always catching my eye. So yeah, here's some, I think this polypore family. I really should know these because I see them all the time. But oh my goodness, look at the size of this one. Hey, oh, that's a nice one. Yeah. Okay, take a look at the nice white creamy underbelly. Here's one that's already down. Oh, there's a couple of them that's already down, so take a bit. I think these are conchs. There's one called an artist conch because they actually do, when they get large enough, they look like they're in the shape of an artist palette. So here's another one, the underside. So that's a little bit on the older side. And let's take a look at the front. So there we go. And they're so hard. I have a couple of them at home that had fallen off from other various places. And, you know, I leave them outside just in case there are little buggies in there and they can get out. But yeah, they just become like almost like a balsa wood. It's nice and light. All right, so we'll just do a quick check. Oh, this is something we planted that did not survive. What is this? I'm not sure what you would have been. Oh, maybe. Maybe you're still alive. We'll find out next spring. Yeah, it's hit and miss planting in here sometimes. You know, we think we have really good soil, and it looks lovely when we dig down, but there's so many things that are just out of our control that we cannot see all the time. Like Japanese knotweed, always rearing its ugly head. Oh, jeez. And, you know, people spray painting things, or people tossing trash wherever. And again, please, a reminder, no trash in this bin, just Japanese knotweed. Oh, some interesting fungi over here. Alright. This is usually a good place for smaller mushrooms because there's a lot of wood chips in there. Alright, and here we are back at the Allen Center Memorial, and we will end it here. Cheers.